Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today I'm discussing the PSVR2 because the price was just announced yesterday, as well as the specs, as well as quite a few of the launch titles. And I want to dive into some of those launch titles because I feel like that's really what is going to tell us whether or not this is going to be worth its price. The specs are neat and everything, like it's great. 4K per eye, wonderful. Up to 120 frames per second. Great. The smoother the experience, the better, especially when it comes to VR. The fact that the headset rumbles, okay, I guess that's kind of cool. But beyond that, those things, I mean, there isn't really that much that sets it apart from the other headsets out there. And for $550, when you also have to own a PlayStation 5, means that to use this system, you have to spend over $1,000. And on top of that, it's not compatible with the computer, so you're going to be limited to whatever is put on the PlayStation 5. And that's it. And that's kind of my problem with the PlayStation VR1, was the fact that you could only play PSVR games. And now the PSVR2, you can't even play PSVR1 games. So that's not great. So that means this costs more than a PlayStation 5. It requires a PlayStation 5 and can only play the games that come to the PlayStation VR2. So it's incredibly limited. It's very expensive, but it is very technically proficient. So what exactly is coming out, at least in the short term, for the PSVR2? And they released about 10 different trailers. We're going to take a quick look at all these different games as I discuss them. And I'm just going to go in alphabetical order because that's the files I have on my computer. Whatever, we're doing that. So After the Fall, it's a zombie game. And this trailer really pissed me off and distracted me from most of the rest of the game. So they like to talk about how when you get grabbed, you can get punched in the face. You're going to feel it with the rumble features. And you've got all the reload animations and whatnot, and all the things you can do in VR and every other shooter VR game. Graphics so far don't look amazing. They don't look terrible, but okay. Back to what I was saying that distracted me, that pissed me off, is the fact that the entire trailer, they don't shoot a single fucking zombie. The entire trailer, they don't shoot a zombie. They're shooting all around them, and I don't know why. This bothers the hell out of me, not just because it's random and annoying and weird, but I also want to see the blood. I want to see the gore. I want to see the death animations. I want to see how they react to the gunfire. Is this going to be like Left 4 Dead, where they react everywhere to the gunshots and there's gore depending on where you shoot them? Or is it going to be like Back 4 Blood, which just sucks? So I really want to see that, and we're not getting that in this trailer. So that's not very promising. Cities VR. So I mean, I like Cities Skylines a lot. I mean, maybe I'm alone here, but they don't look good. I mean, there's a way to do the simplistic art style and make it look good, and this just does not look good. I'm sure it looks fine through the VR headset as you see all the miniature buildings and things in front of you, and look at all the little people, and you watch your town get built, but just overall, I feel like they should have enhanced the graphics a bit more and done some more things to take advantage of the fact that this is VR. So these first two games don't seem like they need to be only on the PSVR 2. That's another thing that I really want to stress, is that a lot of these games don't seem like they need to be on this system. There really aren't any serious selling points to this VR headset specifically that you have to, oh, I gotta get the PlayStation VR 2 because it has this feature. I don't think vibration on your headset is a feature that most VR players were really wanting. It's a cool feature, but it's not a selling point in my opinion. Cosmonious High, what the hell is going on here? I guess it's like a detective game. I don't like the graphics at all here. I don't like what they're doing with this. Next, Crossfire Sierra Squad. It looks like a first-person shooter military game. It looks all right. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun. All right, you know, I'm sure it's gonna be pretty decent. though maybe you'll get motion sick. That's the thing I'm worrying about with a lot of VR games. You gotta get the movement correct or you're gonna get sick. So maybe this game does it correct. I don't know. Hello Neighbor VR Search and Rescue. This is a great game to make in VR just because it's that jump scare, you gotta sneak around, you gotta solve puzzles type of game. It seems like the perfect game for VR. Not for me. I don't like Hello Neighbor. I'm not interested in Hello Neighbor, but I see the appeal, and I think this is a great choice for VR. But again, I don't know why this is only on PlayStation. Pistol Whip. Love this game. This game's amazing. I've played this game, actually. It's on PC VR already. You can play it if you have any PC VR headset, or if you have an Oculus or Meta or whatever they're calling it these days headset. You can play this game. 10 out of 10 recommend. So much fun. You feel like John Wick. Tentacular. This game looks ridiculous, and I love ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to seeing more about this game. But man, those graphics do not need to be on a PlayStation 5, and it makes me wonder why it wasn't on the original PSVR. I don't know. It looks interesting. The Dark Pictures Switchback VR. This looks a lot like a sequel to the other VR on-rails shooter game. I'm blanking on the name, but this game looks awesome. This looks like so much fun. I think horror games are great. First-person shooters on rails are perfect for VR. It's going to be a great entry point for people that don't play a lot of VR and are prone to motion sickness because you yourself are not moving your character. You're just on rails. And there's something about that just, it makes it easier to stomach, literally. So that's great. This game looks like it's going to be like a lot of fun, but I wish this was on PC. I wish it was also on PC, and it sucks that it's only going to be on PSVR 2. The Light Brigade, another first-person shooter with a really interesting art style going on here. Got some old-school guns. I mean, it looks cool. I like it a lot. Again, wish it wasn't only on PSVR 2. I think games that go with an alternate art style that aren't super realistic but aren't stupidly minimalistic, like this kind of has a great in-between that I like a lot, and it means the game is going to run well and it's going to age very well. So this game looks cool. Can't wait to see more of it. But again, man, I wish it was also on other platforms. Zenith The Last City. Now, this is an MMO that's coming to the PSVR 2, and MMO and VR right away just seems a bit strange because you spend a lot of time in MMOs. You spend so much time. There's a lot of jumping around in this trailer too, which if you haven't done VR before, jumping around, at least if you're not used to VR and you haven't gotten your VR legs, is what they call them, instead of sea legs, you're going to feel sick. You're just going to. It's going to make you feel like you're going to throw up after a little bit, and maybe it'll be fine after a while, but good lord, the amount of jumping around I'm seeing in this game, it's going to make you feel sick. You have to spend a lot of time in MMOs, and with VR, you really want to jump in for just like an hour or two, and then you kind of take a break. I'm sure some people can do it for longer, but man, you really got to work your way up to be able to do that. And that's going to be difficult with an MMO. Another thing that is a problem with this being an MMO is that the player base is very important for an MMO. And having an MMO be successful is already difficult, but having a MMO require you to own a very specific headset on a console that some people are still having difficulties buying. I mean, this is $1,000 MMO to get into, and then you also have to buy the game itself, and you have to be interested in the game. So like, you're really narrowing the scope of your audience here. So it's going to be interesting to see what the audience is like for this and how many people pick it up, and whether or not this MMO truly survives, because you really need a large amount of people for an MMO to feel like an MMO should, which is massively multiplayer. And if you don't have that massive amount of people, you're missing one of the M's. So those are the 10 new trailers. Those are some of the games we're seeing that are going to be launching around the PSVR 2. And you know, a lot of these games do look good, but none of these games are making me pull out my wallet and spend another $550 to get the VR for PlayStation. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to like this, but I just don't see a whole lot of people adopting this. I could be wrong, but I mean, people say we're getting close to a recession, and here's a $550 headset where you already have to own a $500 console, and then you have to buy the games on top of that. I mean, the price to entry is very high, and I don't know, guys. I just don't know. You don't have compatibility with the PC, and you have to basically hope that PlayStation is really out there and motivating these studios to buy in to this dream that they have. And the PSVR 1, it didn't have a ton of games, and it also didn't really have a ton of exclusives. If you look at, let's say, the IGN top 25 PSVR games, I mean, we got Everybody's Golf, but that's also, you can play golf games on the PC VR. Arizona Sunshine, also in PC VR, and a lot of people look at it as not that great of a game anymore. Moss is also on PC VR. The Rick and Morty game, I believe, is also on PC VR. No, Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. I mean, there's so many of these games that are on that platform that are also on the PC. And the cool thing about the PC is the fact that these games are always going to be compatible with the newer headsets. At least that's what I've seen so far. I haven't really seen any older games not work on the newer headsets. So not having the PSVR 1 games work on the PSVR 2 is just, it's a baffling choice. And if that's the direction they're going, it makes people second guess whether or not they want to spend another $550 on a headset where these games that they're buying for it might not transfer over to the third generation. And yeah, that's like 6 years down the road, but I mean, I'm still playing PC games that I've played since I was a kid. So I don't really think that that's a great reason to think that this is okay to not have these games work in the future and to have that doubt in your mind. And I mean, backwards compatibility is something that is always very important to me. And not really to Sony. I mean, we've already heard them talk in the past about how they think old games are pointless. So, I don't know, guys. It's cool that it's 4K. It's cool that it's up to 120 frames per second. It's cool that a lot of these games look like they're going to be a ton of fun. But I think in the end, there's not going to be enough people to keep these developers exclusively to the PSVR 2, and without that exclusivity, without the games only being on that platform, there isn't enough of a reason for people to just go out and get that when they can go get a much cheaper thing. For instance, this. I mean, the Meta Quests, Oculus Quest, whatever you want to call it. It's a standalone device, which when I bought it was $300. Now it's $400, but it constantly goes on sale. They said they raised the price, but they kinda did. They threw in Beat Saber, and I constantly see them throwing another $50 off. So for basically $300, if you wait, you can get this thing. It's a standalone device. It plays all the PC VR games wirelessly, or you can do it wired, whatever you want. And that's something that you can't say with the PSVR 2. Look, I hate Facebook just like everybody else, but they're really going all in on this whole VR thing, so I don't think they're going to go anywhere. And the fact that this plays all of the games, you can get like Humble Bundles, and there are multiple storefronts. That's another thing that I think people need to think about before they put all this money in, is you can buy these VR games from one storefront. That's it. Whereas that, I mean, you can buy it from the Oculus Store, which I don't recommend to anybody because, again, now you're stuck on that one platform. Or you can buy them off of Steam, or you can get the keys for Steam from other storefronts online that are constantly cheaper. I mean, there's so many different ways to get games for every other headset out there that isn't tied to a specific console that just, it makes you wonder, who is this for? And why would you go for the PSVR 2 over a PC VR headset? Those are my thoughts on the PSVR 2. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of PlayStation fanboys in the comments that are mad at me. Yeah, I think that's a very steep price, but for the tech they packed into it, it makes sense why they're charging as much as they are. I don't think they're overcharging for it. I just think the ticket to entry into that platform being $1,000 is very high, and with how limited it is because they didn't make it compatible to PC, you've narrowed it down so much that you really have to hope that they're going to support this into the future. And I honestly didn't see them do it that much with the PSVR 1 that I'd be comfortable telling you guys, hey, oh yeah, PSVR 2, jump right in. I would wait. If you're going to get the PSVR 2, I would wait until like a year or two down the road. These games will be cheaper, and you can really see where Sony is going to put their money. If they're going to put their money where their mouth is and they're going to really support this thing, you'll know in a year or two. Whereas right now at launch, you're going to be a beta tester, and you're just going to have to hope for the best. So if you want to do that, that's fine, but that's my warning, and there you go. So please leave a like if you guys liked the video, and leave a comment down below how you feel about the PSVR 2, if you think you'll be getting one, or if you share the same mindset I do. Of course, subscribe for more content like this, and have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.